סביבה צדק ומשפט נכון כיסו צדק ומשפט נכון כיסו
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It's good to see you. I'm a little sad that I'm in the Wolf Sanctuary, not because I don't like to be in the Wolf Sanctuary, but because we were planning on being outside with all of you face to face, COVID being what it is, and the most recent request from the mayor that we stay away from groups larger than 10 have brought us back to this zone. But it's still good to be more intimately connected to you. I can see your smiles. None of us are wearing masks, and you can sing to your heart's content. So I want to remind you of our Zoom protocols for those of you who are here with us on Zoom, which is to stay muted unless we invite you to unmute, to remember that we can see everything that you do on camera camera. So if you need to leave to take care of business, we invite you to leave your camera where it is, or turn off your camera, and to be fully present with us through services. Joel has put the link for our prayer book in the chat. If you're with us on live stream on our website, the link for the prayer book is right below the screen. With all of that, I invite you to take a deep breath and focus in on this evening of Shabbat, letting all of what has happened this past week, the energy, the stress, some really amazing things happened, some not so amazing things happened. It's all in the balance. We now are ready to welcome Shabbat. And we do that with song as the cantor leads us in a nigun. I invite you to turn to page 3, and I'm going to invite Cheryl Davis up to lead us in the blessing to prepare us for lighting candles. She was here in the parking lot, and I invited her to come on in so we didn't have to celebrate Shabbat alone. So lucky me, I still have someone to celebrate Shabbat with, person to person. Cheryl, come on up and lead us in the opening prayer.
That chair made her look so small.
O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, let us find knowledge by which we live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter the sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to attract acts of kindness, peace, and love.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. And please join me in Kiddush on page 5. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, v'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron le'maseh v'reshit, ki hu yom techila lemikra kodesh, zecher litziat Mitzrayim. Ki banu bacharta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, ve'shabbat kodshecha, ve'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh hashamayim
L'chaim. Okay, we're turning to page 12, and we are now ready to welcome Shabbat with song singing L'chun Ranana.
And we continue on page 22 with Mizmor Shir. Mizmor Shir Yom HaShabbat. Tov lehodot Adonai. Tov lehodot Adonai. Lezamer l'shimcha elyon. Lezamer l'shimcha elyon. להגיד בבוקר בבוקר חסדך, באמונתך בלילות. להגיד בבוקר בבוקר חסדך, באמונתך בלילות. מזמור שיר ליום השבת. טוב להודות לאדוני, טוב להודות לאדוני, לזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. להגיד בבוקר בבוקר חסדך, באמונתך בלילות. להגיד בבוקר בבוקר חסדך, באמונתך בלילות. מזמור שיר ליום השבת. טוב להודות לאדוני, טוב להודות לאדוני, לזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון.
We turn now to page 20 as we make ready to welcome the Sabbath bride, singing L'chadodi. We sing verses 1 and 2, 5 and 9, and when we reach verse 9, Believe Shalom, I invite you to rise in the sacred space, the Mikdash Ma'at, that personal sanctuary you have created at home or wherever you are, and to face the entrance of that sanctuary to Beckon that Shabbos spirit that we all feel joining together, singing as one. Join us.
So you'll recognize this melody from the beginning of our service, and we're just adding on the Lechadodi words. So please join in when you catch on.
If you don't have your camera turned on, we invite you to do that for just a moment. Say and unmute yourself so we can wish each other a Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.
All right. We're going to turn now to page 26 for Chatzi Kaddish and remain standing through the Shema.
Yitgadol v'yitkadosh shemei Rab, amen. V'amad yivrachirtei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chayidecha beit Yisrael. Bagala, bagala, uv'izman kariv v'meru, amen. Yehi shemei Rab mevorach Le'olam olam me'amaya, yitbarach, yitbarach v'yishtabach, yitvar v'yitshoma v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar, v'yithaleh, v'yithalal shemei kodesha, b'richu, le'ila min kol birchata, v'shir ושפחתה ונחמתה תמירון בעלמה במהירות. אמן.
On page 30, we read together, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chokhmah poteach sha'arim, uvit vuna mishane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umisader et hakochavim, b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono. Borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech v'choshech mipnei or. Uma'avir yom umevi layla, umavdil bein yom uvein layla, Adonai tzivaot shemo. El chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. On page 33, we continue responsively. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol.
All these things your Torah gives to us.
And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives.
What could be a truer token of your abiding love
Than this holiest of your works and the living language that gives it form. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod, Shem Kevod, Malchuto Leolam, Leolam Vaed. You may be seated. Please join me in the Hafta on page 36. V'yavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levacha v'chol nafshecha v'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha Hayom alevavecha, v'shinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shivtecha b'vitecha, v'achtecha b'derech, uv'shofbecha uv'kumecha, uv'shartam leot hayadecha, v'hayu l'totafot b'neinecha, uchtavtam, Amezizot beitecha uvisharecha, lemon tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai, v'item kedoshim lelechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem, אשר הוצאת ידכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
On page 39, we continue. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth.
The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love.
From bondage in Egypt, we were delivered. At Sinai, we bound ourselves to your way.
Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces.
Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed.
Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. Amen. On page 43 at the bottom, we read together. Give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. Page 44, Vishamru.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et hashabat, la'asot et hashabat, nidorotan berit olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et hashabat, la'asot et hashabat, nidorotan berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, oti le'olam, oti le'olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et hashabat, la'asot et hashabat, nidorotan berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et hashabat, la'asot et hashabat, nidorotan berit olam. V'yom hashvi'i shavot v'nafash, shavot v'nafash,
We turn now to page 46, and if you are able, I invite you to rise for the Amidah.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor ve'hanora, Elyon, Komel Chasadim Tovim, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, מביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה, אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה הכל אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח מוריד הגשם, מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בגבורות, ונידון מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצניח ישוע, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יעלוך סלה, ברוך אתה אדוני,
You may be seated. On the top of page 55, may these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat. On page 57 at the bottom. You are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt, and our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha be'ira na'avod. On page 61, we join together in our prayer for peace. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations, May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamevarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. As we move to the Mishaberach, which can be found on page 253, we think of those who are in need of healing of mind, body, and spirit. As our numbers in COVID-19 rise, not only in Bexar County, but across the country and the world, we think of those who are specifically dealing with those physical ailments and those whose family members have gone from those ailments. We think of those who need emotional and spiritual help as they struggle at this time of isolation. We think of the people that are on your screen, those from our community who need our prayers. We take a moment, add all of those that are in your heart to this list. Join with us singing Mishaberach, again, page 253.
Please take a moment for your own silent prayers.
Cantor Berlin, I imagine you're singing very beautifully, but you are muted.
Somebody keeps muting my computer. Just did first part. Lefanecha Joel keeps muting it. He muted it before when you were.
Okay. Everyone hear me? Great. When we first arrived here in San Antonio, Isaac, our eldest, was 11 and about to start 6th grade. We had done our best to coordinate my search for a senior rabbi position by what grade our kids were in. But because he was our oldest, his grade counted most. The break between elementary school and middle school seemed like our last somewhat natural time to relocate because every 6th grader starts a new school. So we felt confident that everyone would be open to meeting new people. Now that he is a 12th grader and applying to college, Isaac is once again looking at another transition in schooling and most likely geographic location. With all this going on in the life of our family, I looked at this week's Torah portion with new eyes. Lech Lecha opens with Avram, his wife Sarai, and his nephew Lot going forth from Haran to a land that God promises to show them. We tend to think of Avram as the one who started the journey, but if we look back a few verses to the end of Parashat Noach, we discover that it was his father Terah who led the first leg of the trip. As we read in Genesis 11:31, Terah took his son Avram, his grandson Lot, and the son of Haran, and his daughter-in-law Sarai, the wife of his son Avram, and they set out together from Ur of the Chaldeans for the land of Canaan. But when they had come as far as Haran, they settled there. Sometime after Terah dies, God comes to Avram and tells him to continue the journey. Lech lecha me'artzecha u'mimoladitecha u'mibeit avicha el ha'eretz asher arecha. Go forth from your native land and from your father's house to the land that I will show you. Avram will be the one to fulfill the mission of settling in Canaan and building up what will become the Jewish people. But without his father Terah showing him that it was okay to leave home, that starting somewhere new and succeeding is possible, maybe Avram would not have heard God's call. But he does, and he heads off to change history and create the beginnings of a master story we are still living today. So, to all the parents who send their kids to sleepaway camp, challenge them to be independent and get places on their own, even when it makes you nervous, good for you. Lech lecha is a tricky phrase, biblically speaking. Often, when a statement needs additional force, we see a verb used 2 times in a row, sometimes in a different form for emphasis, but not always. A famous example might be tzedek, tzedek tirdof. Justice, justice shall you pursue. But in Lech Lecha, we have an imperative, lech meaning go. But then instead of repetition, another lech, or a parallel command form, telech, you go, we have lecha, which generally translates as to you. So though we translate Lech Lecha as go forth, a more literal translation might be go you forth, as Everett Fox writes, but technically Lech Lecha means go to you. Now I know that's a lot of Hebrew grammar, and I imagine some of you are asking, so what? But the lecha in Lech Lecha gives us an opportunity to think about what the full purpose of Avram's journey may be and how it can inspire us today. Rashi explains that Lech Lecha means go forth for your own benefit and your own good. This time you aren't leaving because your father told you to. This time you will head out on your own. This is your moment to figure out who you will be and how you will be in the world. To Rashi, the lecha is there to mean that while the journey has national import, it is also quite personal. As Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneerson adds, Avram is to start the journey, but also, unlike his father, he must keep going. He must leave his current state of being behind. He is destined for much more. Avram heeds God's call, and we should too. As we all know, this coming Tuesday is Election Day. If you haven't voted early or sent in your mail-in ballot, I urge you to make a safe and reasonable voting plan, make the journey to your polling place, and cast your vote. As Jewish Americans, we cannot take for granted how our ancestors journeyed here to their promised land to escape persecution. They came to find economic opportunities, but also religious and civic freedom. So many of them left behind countries where their rights and the rights of most people were tenable at best. As American citizens, we must all engage in our democracy in order to keep it vibrant and strong, and this means that we should all vote. Avram's journey reminds us what a gift it is to have the ability to head out on our own, to take chances, to have our own opinions and voice them safely. These are privileges that should not be taken for granted and that need to be practiced if they are to remain robustly intact. Isaac, like a lot of other high school seniors, won't turn 18 in time to vote in this election. Much to his chagrin, he will have to watch it unfold from the sidelines. But hopefully, his post-high school journey will give him experiences and tools that he will find valuable as he figures out where his journey will take him, how to stand up for what he believes in, how to engage with others in respectful dialogue and discussion, and how to participate actively in his community. I agree with Rashi that it is for his own benefit and good to venture away and try something new, but I never knew it would be so nerve-wracking as a parent to let it happen. So wherever you are or your children are in their life journeys, we would do well to remember that to truly grow along the way, we must take chances, but also act responsibly. There's no doubt that we will make mistakes along the way, but if we go forth with integrity, an open mind, and an open heart, success will surely come. Of course, there are many different kinds of transformational journeys that occur, and for 7 wonderful people this past week, it was the culmination of the first phase of their Jewish journey as they completed their process of conversion, with a Beit Din, their clergy court, mikvah, ritual immersion, and a ceremony in front of a small group of family and friends here on the Bima on Wednesday. We couldn't be more proud of or excited for each of them on their unique Jewish journey. And we know, like Avram and Sarai, this journey forward for themselves has enabled them to not only leave the familiar territory of the past, but also to stretch their limits theologically, spiritually, and emotionally. So tonight, we offer them a special communal blessing. We had hoped it would be in person, but coronavirus had different plans for us. Nevertheless, we can find and make and be blessings wherever we are. So if you are in our class, we invite you to turn on your cameras or be with us on live stream so that we can bless you. Mi sheberach avotenu Abraham, Yitzchak, v'Yaakov v'imotenu Sarah, Rivka, Leah, v'Rachel. May the one who blessed our mothers and fathers before us, in the presence of family and friends and congregation, in the presence of Torah, their stories ever unfolding, bring blessing upon these sacred souls who marked their official entry into the covenant of Abraham and Sarah just this past Wednesday.
As these Gerei Tzedek have each in their own right been committed and questioning seekers, students of Torah, Avodah, and Gimilut Chasadim, study, worship, and acts of loving kindness in the truest sense, searching out their own sense of self and spirituality within the traditions of our people, so may each of their continued pursuits be ever passionate and bring sweetness to their spirit.
As each of you continues to bring covenant to life, shaping your Jewish practice and learning, inspiring your connection to this community that has come to be such a significant part of your lives, so may tradition be renewed through your newfound commitment as well.
And as each of you in choosing this peoplehood has brought us the gifts of enthusiasm and passion for living and learning Jewishly, so may you know that we celebrate the gift of commitment you bring with all our hearts. So with your blessing, Holy One, may these sacred souls ever know this special day, indeed, every day. Each of them has truly come home.
Amen. We want to say a hearty Mazel Tov to, and I'm doing this in alphabetical order by last name, so no one can get upset that I'm putting somebody else first. So To Micah June Culpepper, Terry Glazer, Andy Greenfield, Ashley Ross, Stephanie Swedlove, Amy Toms, and Vanya Vasquez. Mazel tov, we're so proud of you. I was so focused on it, I'm so sorry. We continue now with our closing portion of our worship, which is Aleinu and can be found on page 283. I invite you to please rise if you are able.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'Adon hakol, לתת גדילה ליוצר בראשית, שהוא שמחני לייחד את שמו, וגור עלינו להמליך מלכותו, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
You may be seated. We continue with our memorial meditation on the bottom of page 289. A poem by Chaim Stern. The light of life is a finite flame. Like the Shabbat candles, life is kindled, it burns, it glows. It is radiant with warmth and beauty. But soon it fades, its substance is consumed, and it is no more. In light we see, in light we are seen. The flames dance and our life burns down in gutters. There is an end to the flames. We see no more and are no more seen, yet we do not despair, for we are more than a memory slowly fading into the darkness. With our lives we give life. Something of us can never die. We move in the eternal cycle of darkness and death, of light and life. Our thoughts turn now to those in our community who have died at this time in years past. As we mark their yard sites, we remember them. Morris Adelman, Dan Anthony, Ima Jean Barnett, Hannah T. Beck, Robert Blaine, Shelton Block, Molly Braveman, Ruby Breeding, Solomon Brown, Louis Croft, Lillian Danziger, Raquel Bendikoff-Dureski, Alice Dubinsky, June Econo, Rochelle Shelley Feinberg, Samuel Alexander Feiner, Kenneth J. Fisher, Richard Flesh, Julian Gold, Betty Lee Greenberg, Harry Hessel, Pauline Hoberman, Joe Horwitz, John Josephson, Meyer Katz, Rhonda Kinney, Ida Kotlikoff, Lorraine Krapp, Molly Ellen Landsman, Richard Landsman, Morris Lerner, Barbara Levine, Joan Pollock Lindsley, Cheryl London, Ann Marks, Sarah Mines, Rosalind Shessis Novitsky, Shelley R. Prober, Judy Rositis, David Rosenblatt, Lillian Rosenstein, Max Rosenstein, Arthur Rotblatt, Robert Sapiro, Erwin Schifrin, Frida Silver, Eliza Strage, Freda Verrett, Rose Rosner Vexler, Colonel Ellis Wheelis. To these names, we add those who died this past month, whose families are in a mourning period of Shloshim. We remember Robert Rubenstein and Selma Robinson. We also think of two who died this past week, whose families are in a mourning period of Shiva. We remember June Valerie Walker, mother of Sarah and Darren Hirsch and Steve Walker, grandmother of Lauren Hirsch, Emily Hirsch, and Candace Walker Fernandez. We also remember J. Michael Freiberg, husband of Sharon Hellman Freiberg, father of Kenneth Freiberg and Signe and Richard Whitson, stepfather of Leslie G. Hellman and Ethan Teller, grandfather of Hannah and Elise Whitson, brother of Miriam and Gerald Putterman, and Daniel and Martha Freiberg, uncle of Hallie Putterman, Joshua and Melissa Putterman, Jeffrey and Jamie Freiberg, and Christopher Freiberg. To all of these names, we add those which are in our hearts each and every day as we join together as a community in saying Kaddish Yatom on page 294. Please rise. Yitzgadal v'yitzkadash shemei rabah, be'alma divrach yiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, v'chayachon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, v'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru, amen. Yehei shmei rabah mevorach le'elam ulmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei d'kudashah b'richu, Le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, Amiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'imramav, u'ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say, amen. You may be seated. It is my honor to have Amy Benedict unmute herself, our president of our board of trustees, to deliver tonight's announcements.
Hi, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. First of all, I want to say Mazel Tov to all of you who were blessed this evening. It's wonderful, and it was great to have that blessing this evening to honor you. A few minor announcements. Ross, it feels very strongly, like Rabbi Nathan was saying, that we all need to vote. So hopefully you will vote. He wants you to tag us. He's saying tag us. That has to do with Facebook, I believe. I know, but I'm middle-aged. Or you can just send a picture to Ross. Either way is good. He said he wants, but we all do, want 100% voting participation for our congregation. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Next, we have on Sunday, November 1st at 9:30, our Sunday Scholars Series will offer the mini Mester with Yuri Feinberg, and he's going to talk about pride and prejudice. When do we get it right? When do we get it wrong? And does context matter? And then on Saturday, that's next Saturday, November 7th at noon, our Social Action Committee will host its fall forum on health inequality in San Antonio. That should be pretty interesting. So that's what we have for announcements for this evening. And then during these challenging times, I try to think of different things we can do to promote wellness. So this is now our wellness moment. And tonight, I want to give a wellness moment actually from Arlene Dreyer, who has given so much to our Temple family and has really some wonderful words of wisdom for us all. And I believe she shared these with me when we had our drive-through, what I called our drive-by, which was a lot of fun and very successful. And I believe when I was peering into her car, not too close, socially distanced, masked, that she shared this with me. And I asked her to email these words to me because I thought they were quite meaningful and powerful. So what Arlene told me is that what gets me through life is remembering these 8 words: gratitude, mind, body, spirit, think, feel, do, and choice. She says, if a day isn't going well, I know I'm neglecting at least one of these. So she prioritizes gratitude, as do I. And I'm grateful for all of you, and have a wonderful week. Shabbat Shalom. Thanks, Arlene.
Thank you, Arlene. Thank you, Amy. I just want to clarify that Ori Feinberg's class is particularly about Israel. And as the learning theme for our year is how we are more inclusive, over the course of the 4 Sundays that he's going to be teaching, 4 in a row, which is different than our usual monthly kind of class, he's going to be exploring not just Jewish and Arab relations, but also Ashkenazi and Sephardi, Black, Russian, the history of welcoming all different kinds of immigrants into Israel, and when that works and when it, how it's gone great and how it hasn't gone so great. So it's going to be really fascinating. He certainly is an expert on that topic, way more than the rest of us are. And I really highly encourage you to pour yourself a cup of coffee on Sunday morning and tune on in. Our closing song for the Shabbat in honor of Parshat Lech Lecha is Lechi Lach. It is on page 341 in your prayer books, or maybe you just know it by heart like I do.
To a land that I will show you. Lech lecha, to a place you do not know. Lechila, and your journey I will bless you, and you shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Lechila, and I shall make your name great. Lech lecha, and all shall praise your name. Lechila, to the place that I will show you. L'simchat chayim, l'simchat chayim, l'simchat chayim, lechila. And you shall be a blessing, lechila.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We invite you to turn on your camera and unmute yourself and wish everybody a Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat
Shabbat
shalom.
shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, y'all.
Have a great week. Stay safe. Don't forget to vote.
Already voted.
Wear a mask, wash your hands,
Do the things.
Yeah.
all the good things.
Do all the things. Yeah.
צדק ומשפט נכון כיסוי